Hi there, welcome to part 2 of my 10,000 subscriber special. In this video we're going to visit the lovely Three Shires Head, and I'm also going to look back over the last 6 years and reminisce over some of my favourite moments taking photographs of landscapes. I've chosen to revisit this location because when I last visited here 4.5 years ago, it was a moment when I coined the phrase, enjoy your photography. I realised at that point that I'd had a bit of a seed change in my philosophy towards photography. I was taking photographs for my own pleasure, not for judges and not for somebody else, just for the enjoyment of the process of getting out in nature and taking photographs that I like. And it's really important that you do that. So we're going to look back in this video over my favourite moments, and I'm going to tell you why I really enjoy my photography. Now today isn't ideal conditions, it's cold, wet and it's misty as well, so it's not great conditions, but the location is quite spectacular when we get down there. I began my YouTube journey about 6 years ago. Now the first year I only made 7 videos, and then I got out of the habit for a little while before starting much more regularly the year after. And probably the highlights from that section were a visit to Park House Hill where I got a pretty epic drone shot, but I also on that shoot came up with my ending to my video where I do a salute almost by accident. But for now I'm going to try and just carry on exploring the landscape and working to becoming a better landscape photographer. Nice to have you along with my journey. See you again. Did I just salute? A really big thank you to everybody that's clicked the like and subscribe button, because it really does help out the channel. But if you're able to, then I've also started a membership program on the channel. It's a way that you can support me and I can give you something back. And so I'll put details of all of the membership tiers just up here and a link down in the description as well for that. But what we'll do now is we'll look at my first really memorable photograph that I took on the channel, and this was when I visited Talika Lighthouse. Here I am at the location, but I did have quite a bit of problem that night with my microphone. The last half an hour of the shoot I lost all of the sound. This photograph I really like, and it's framed at the top of our stairs. So despite the weather, the scenery here is still pretty epic, and another really spectacular moment I had was when I visited the Lake District in 2020, and I went to Buttermere and got a photograph of the lone tree. Now unfortunately I went there in the dark, and I realised as soon as I'd set up my pitch that I'd forgotten my filters, so I had to rush back to the hotel to get back to the side of the lake for the first light, and by that time a couple more photographers had turned up and stolen the best spot, but I still did manage to get some really nice photographs. On a cold December day at the end of 2020, I visited a place called Ramshaw Rocks, which is an outcrop of gritstone near Leek in Staffordshire. It's really spectacular, and because it was frosty that morning, that really set off the photographs. It's really important as a landscape photographer to have a bank of locations in your mind that you can visit at short notice if the conditions are right. And one morning we had some misty conditions, and near to where I live I've got some trees that I'd noticed in the middle of a field, so I rushed down and I got some great pictures of the trees in the mist, but the sun started to rise behind them and just lit up the mist, so they're really golden in colour, and I'm really proud of them. about a mile away from Ramshore Rocks is another location called the Roaches, and on the top is a pool known as Doxy Pool, and I was there for a great sunset. Padle Gorge is a really lovely location, particularly when I visited it in autumn, and I got great colours on the floor from the leaves and in the trees. But I think what it's probably most memorable for is when I dropped my vlogging camera in the river. As I set it up on a rock, I hadn't got it completely level, and I saw it tipple over into the water. I've arrived at the location and you can see why it's so stunning. Just behind me, two rivers join and form these waterfalls. Then there's a bridge over the top of those waterfalls with this tree just here overhanging, so it makes for really lovely compositions. So I'm going to take some time taking some photographs of this, and while I'm doing that, have a look at another one of my really favourite places to visit, which is Whitby. And one morning I visited Saltwick Bay that you can only access at low tide, so I had to scramble across some rocks, but when you get there, there's a shelf of rock that collects a little bit of water that gets great reflections. There's even a shipwreck as well. One of the most exotic locations I've filmed a video in was Italy, and while I was there on holiday I did get some video in Sorrento, Amalfi, Positano, and I also filmed a scuba dive. I went and stayed for a few nights in Wales at a place called Betsy Coed, and just outside that is somewhere called Lynedwall. And one night I was there in the evening and I got a great shot over the valley and the lake with an overhanging tree that I'd positioned really well by precariously climbing down an almost 45-degree side of a hill. But it was worth it for the shot. And then on the way back to the car, I managed to get a really amazing sunset over the top of the lake as well. It's time for me to stop for a sandwich, but while I'm doing that, I'm going to show you one of my really favourite locations, which is a place called Crome Hill. Now you have to get there very early in the morning. In fact, you have to park up in the dark to walk to the location and then climb the hill in virtually the dark to be there for when the sun rises. But if you are there at the right moment, the view is truly outstanding. Now you may be aware of Kim Grant, who is another YouTuber, and she very kindly agreed to an interview with me, which was really enlightening, so it's really worth going and watching that. And I'm also in talks with another well-known YouTuber to try and land another interview, so look out for that in the future. One morning in Yorkshire, I visited Flamborough Head, and I went there for the sunrise that didn't really happen. And as I was going back to the car, all of a sudden rays of sunlight started pouring through the clouds in crepuscular rays that were just out of this world, and it lasted for about an hour, and I got lots of really interesting shots on that morning. Earlier this year, I visited the Yorkshire Dales and two really lovely locations. The first being the Ingleton Waterfalls trail. There are lots of waterfalls along this path. You walk up one river and down the other and are treated to some really gorgeous sights along the way. And then later that evening, I went to a place called Twistleton Scars where there is some limestone pavement, and this was truly spectacular, and I got some really amazing photographs of the limestone pavement and was treated to some great light at the end of the evening. Just before I wrap up the video, I'll leave you with some of my favourite photographs that I took while I was at Three Shires Head. If you've got to this point in the video, thanks very much for sticking with me while I've looked back over my 6 years on YouTube. I hope you've enjoyed looking at everything that I've done, and it's given you a taster of what's likely to come in the future, because I've got big plans for the coming year. Well, if you have enjoyed this video, do let me know down below in the comments, and up over to my Instagram or Vero account, that's @Oakden Photography. Leave me your comments there, and you can also see lots of my photographs. Now, if you like what I do on the channel and want to help support me to make future content like this, then you can also visit my Teespring store. There I've got a range of merchandise on offer, so head off over there, because a purchase really does help me out and it's very much appreciated. Don't forget my memberships that I have on offer. Go and check out the link down below to see what you can get in return for your membership. But you don't have to spend any money at all to support the channel. You can do that simply by clicking the like, subscribe and the bell notifications. It really helps me out, and it makes sure that you don't miss out on any future content. Watch out for next week's video, that goes live on Sunday. In the meantime, go and check out this video just up here, but all that's left now is to say stay safe, and I'll see you soon.